So let's get started on part 3. In part 3, what we are going to do is have 4 different paragraphs. Sometimes there's 5. Yeah. 4 different sections, A, B, C, D. Then below you have some questions, and you need to identify which paragraph this topic was talked about in. And there also might be a section that is not talked about, and those we label E. And it should describe that down here, but it does not. So we can say um, paragraphs not discussed, or topics not discussed in the topics. In the topics, label them E. Sorry, I should have written that earlier. All right. Now, of course, the first thing to do is read through these topics, highlight keywords in which you could assume will be talked about above, and then we're going to skim read the text. So this type of storm is called typhoon. Definitely typhoon is going to be a key word. A violent storm that can wreak havoc to livestock and or houses are usually occurred after hitting 40 degrees Celsius in temperature. Keywords. This type of storm can look less scary, but can actually be dangerous. Scary and dangerous have a lot of synonyms, so we're going to look for other words like fearful or harmful. This storm typically occurs around the middle of the planet. What's another word for middle of the planet? Equator. Equator is the center, the middle. The most common type of storm that occurs here and there. Not really any keywords, but let's see. This type gradually starts from the ground, swooping up, creating a swirly motion in the air. Swirly motion, I don't know, it sounds like a tornado, but not really. Swirly motion in the air. Usually moves unpredictably. It can slow down or move in different directions. This storm can also produce tornado-like as it gets closer to the ground. So we do have a paragraph probably about tornadoes. This storm can form differently and produce rain or snow. And this one forms just below the clouds. Okay. Now, what we are going to do is skim the text. Today we're practicing skim and scanning. When you skim read, you read very quickly and you're not reading every word for word. You're just briefly going through it. While you're doing this, you can highlight keywords which kind of relate to the questions below. After that, we are going to scan the text. So we'll read the question, then read the text and scan for the keywords. Skim and scan. So let's get started. I'll skim read paragraph A and highlight keywords in which I think will be helpful. I'm just reading in my head. Okay, so that one's definitely about thunderstorms. They do use words like damage, which might help us. We had a question about snow and rain and clouds, so I highlighted those words. Next is B. Again, skim both paragraphs and highlight keywords. All right, so that one was mostly about tornadoes. I highlighted some words about spinning because we had things like swirling motion, funnel. I also highlighted Midwest and South because that's getting closer to the center of the Earth, like the equator. Might be helpful. Next paragraph, C, let's do the same. Okay, I don't recall us having questions about flooding or waves, but I highlighted it just in case. And we had that keyword swirling. There was another one that talked about a swirling motion. Finally, D, one more. Okay, definitely one question asked us about damage to property, so I highlighted that. Okay, let's go back. Now we're starting to look for the answers. This type of storm is also called typhoons. Now, I just highlighted this, so it's fresh in my memory. A hurricane may also be referred to or called typhoons. Easy peasy, that's D. Number 2, a violent storm that can wreak havoc to livestock and houses usually occurs after getting hit 40 degrees Celsius in temperature. Okay, so we did talk about damage. There was damage here, but I didn't see temperature. Where else did they talk about damage? There was damage here. Did they talk about temperature? No. Oh, there was damage here as well. But they didn't talk about temperature. They did talk about snow. Warm air? Warm air is. Now, 40 degrees Celsius, that's pretty cold. So I'm trying to find what would be our best option here because they do talk about a lot of destruction.